Greetings, friends from around the world. As the theme of this event is unity, my feelings for this talk arose out of this sense of unity and what it is that is going to change and allow us all to connect to the feeling of unity. Because the essence of this is a universal vibration. We can intellectualize unity, we can write prosaic pieces about unity, but ultimately, in order to make it useful to humanity, it is about connection. Connection to the vibration, connection to the unifying grace of all that there is. And in my own way, through my own work, this is something that has evolved over time. In 40 years of practice, I have learnt to trust, to have faith that there are greater things at play when I am in consultations and when I am beginning to understand that the barriers that have been in place over the years have mostly and mainly been of my own creation. Mind-created obstructions. And in the evolution of this process of healing and allowing the healing to grace itself into the hearts of those who sit before me, I need to be almost mindless. Not in the sense of senselessness, but in the sense of allowing my mind to take a holiday and trusting that I have the required knowledge of understanding pathology, of knowing how to regulate medication and so forth and so on, and trust that those gifts of skill and the knowledge therein has been absorbed and assimilated into my being, and allowing the rest to take care of itself. For in the field of this understanding, it has been an evolution, a progress of seeing is believing. That once information begins to flow and the effects and the resonance of its presence is seen to take hold in other beings and is seen to have effects on health and well-being. For then, this awareness can be combined and has been combined into the manifestation of vibrational remedies above and beyond those of the thousands already existing in the homeopathic pharmacopoeia. And this is the fascination for me, the fascination and the wonder that these vibrational influences that allow us to feel and have a sense of unity, of the divine presence of all that there is, can be transferred and expressed on an individual or collective basis to harmonize people and help them to regulate and understand themselves in the concepts and the dilemmas that they face in daily life, and how these dilemmas affect their human form. We all know that there are inheritances at foot in most beings. We inherit certain predispositions, and at certain points of stress or at times in life, they begin to manifest and express themselves in and through pathology. However much we try to disengage from this, it is always there, lurking in the background. For some people it is ever present. For some people it may be something that hardly manifests in their incarnation at all. On the other hand, we can absorb and assimilate energies that are in the field around us, energies that are essentially of us and for us. And it is a matter then of working towards seeing and feeling and receiving what these messages and codes of information are and how they can be applied in practice, in practical application of daily living around health and well-being. And this is essentially where I am now in this process of expansion, of understanding that the information is there waiting to be received, is there in gratitude of the presence of beings who wish to take advantage of its presence. We are all in this together, and the more people who can begin to work and see health and well-being in this way, the more expansive the experience becomes, the more pertinent, the more relevant, the more intrinsically valuable it will become to changing the vibrational energy of all of humanity. And this, keeping in mind once more that the unifying effect of this is what this conference is all about, bringing people together. And thus, in my own little world of practice, it is exactly what I am experiencing, helping people to come together within themselves, first of all, to begin to know and understand the true feeling and expression of who they really are and what their potentials and opportunity can be if they can let go and feel and sense the absorption and the assimilation of the energies around them that can be delivered to them and for them at will. Now, in my own way, I have been prescribing remedies for 40 years. Traditionally at first, in a very Hahnemannian classical way, for this was my training. And slowly but surely I realized over time that the mental preparation for this work was so overwhelming that it became obvious that if I was to proceed in this manner, my brain would literally explode. So much knowledge, so much information, so much research. I began to feel that there must be another way. There must be another way of connecting. So over a period of months, and let's say this then went into years, I made some dramatic changes. I had a library of homeopathic literature, floor to ceiling. I sent the books to Eastern Europe, for this was a time when those countries were coming out of various forms of communism and dictatorship, into a more expansive realm of understanding and feeling. And they were thirsty for the knowledge. People from Europe, where I was living at the time in England, were going to Eastern Europe to teach homeopathy and to allow doctors to satisfy themselves in this realm of exploration. So all the books went, and this was as if a burden had been lifted. Most of them were not in use anyway. They were merely there to make me feel good about myself. So it gave me a sense of freedom, a sense of, well, what's next? what is going to unfold? And what began to unfold was another language that allowed me to apply vibrational medicine in a different form. I began to listen more intently to whoever was sitting in front of me, rather than allowing my mind to rapidly dart from one piece of information to another, hoping to hit upon the simillimum, the right remedy for the constitution. Now this field of expansion grew and grew until I began to receive information that inherently sometimes had nothing whatsoever to do with the complaint or wherever the conversation went. It was as if it came out of the blue, and it could have involved any piece of information. It often became a family matter. What was going on in the dynamic of the family? How different children could be managed more easily, putting them into relationship with one another and allowing a perspective to evolve that brought parenting into a different light. Often it was information that dealt with past lives, only if it was relevant. This was not information for the sake of information. It was specific, detailed revelations about this person's existence. So these past life experiences, if they were hindering and blocking, they could be removed. They could be eased out of the consciousness as their vibrational output lifted and increased. Oftentimes, it dealt with purely the physical pathology. What was going on in this body? Whether it needed a different form of medication, a change of medication, a lessening of the dose, or the addition of some other therapeutic intervention that was more suitable to the vibration, to the energy, to the pathology of this particular instance. And so it evolved that the information came with ever increasing clarity. And it allowed people to come to a place of agreement, for them to grasp the language and have an understanding of what had been revealed. And more often than not, the acceptance was done with grace and ease, as if a weight had been lifted, or a light had come on, and the magnificence of their own being had a chance to be more fully revealed and realized. And then came the changes, the subtle changes in the remedies and how they were delivered. Sometimes the traditional homeopathic prescribing was advantageous. It was just what the doctor ordered. But then a shift began to happen, and other frequencies came into play. Sometimes they were revealed as colour, intense, brilliant, beautiful greens, or the hues of magenta, or the subtleties of crimson, the wonder of emerald, and so forth and so on. The full spectrum of colour with an intensity that was beyond human sight began to be revealed. Now, how on earth could we get these vibrations into a medium, a form that would act as a medication. And as things evolved, I began to see the pictures and see the images of these vibrations going into liquid. So all I needed to do was have a bottle, a dropper bottle with liquid, and the frequencies and the vibrations were literally formed into the liquid. And then they could be prescribed in whatever way was necessary. Once a day, 3 times a day, once every 2 days. So the accuracy of the dosage could also be appropriate to the situation. And thus it evolved to how it is now, with an ever-expanding wonder of each day providing an adventure in consciousness, an adventure in awareness, an adventure into realms that exist around us, that are beyond the mind, that are beyond our understanding, that are beyond the reach of science as it is now. And as this brilliance became a part of me, the sensory world and the elemental realms revealed themselves with ever-increasing brilliance and intensity. And thus, it allows me to see where I am now with appreciation, with a sense of grace that this has evolved through my being and through my lifetime and has allowed understanding to increase in the field of vibrational medicine. And homeopathic treatment can be expanded into the wonder of realms hitherto unexplored. And it is with this gift that I leave you now, understanding that the very core of its brilliance is about unity. Unification of the fields of energy around us, unification with the very core and essence of the planet itself. Unification between humanity, Earth, and the cosmos. Unification in all of its brilliance, waiting for us to reveal itself with ever-increasing clarity and brilliance. And so it is that I can offer thanks to Dr. Yugandhar for this opportunity to speak, for this opportunity to share with you, for this opportunity to be in my heart and to open myself to the presence of this wonderful, wonderful conference. Thank you.